Hey, I am on a roof because there's a change of pace. I like being outside, so I haven't done an outside video in a while. And so it kind of ties in with what I'm speaking about with familiarity. There's a lot of fear of the familiarity, of routine, of that. I think we have a lot of fears sometimes, and some are bigger than others. I assume that everyone has fears that are more difficult to move through than others. Maybe like the main predominant fears that we each individually have uniquely to ourselves. And I like to speak about some of my fears with familiarity because it's been a challenging one this past several months, but also the past few years. And I hope that people can resonate with that themselves. I always find myself in others who are spontaneous, adventure-seeking, adaptable and flexible to their environment, and they're always seeking change and something new. But there's something about predictability and familiarity that's beneficial and helpful to us. I didn't know I had this fear. I knew that I like change and I like newness the last, really, maybe several years. And maybe I recognize that about myself, that I like that. I like new, I like change. But I didn't know how much of a fear that familiarity and routine has been just so confrontational to me the last couple of months. I know and I've seen myself capable of consistency, capable of familiarity. I mean, I've been in New York for now, like on my, just the last couple of years, and it's I didn't know this fear has been so evident, and it's been occupying my mind hugely. And just coming out here, I wasn't sure if I was going to be even on this rooftop, but to be recording, it feels like I'm seeing myself again, that I'm holding myself and showing myself, teaching myself by showing myself different ways of operating that I can operate. I've had experiences, one recently on a couple days ago, where I was in a new environment. I was experiencing something I haven't experienced much in life as a slow bloomer. It was kind of my first time really being in a group in New York City in the 5 years I've been here, almost 5 years. Well, I guess, yeah, almost 5 in a way. After 5 years of living somewhere, or almost 5 years of living somewhere, I'm just now experiencing having an experience where I'm with a group in a city. And I recognize how I felt like I was recognizing parts of me that aren't seen often to myself, aren't shown to me often. When I show myself how deserving I am, to be in certain spaces or to have certain experiences. When I experience certain desires that I want for myself, in a way I'm teaching myself what I value. I'm teaching myself what I like, in a way. And when we operate in a way that's aligned with our desires, we're teaching ourselves what we deserve consistently. We're teaching ourselves, showing ourselves who we are to ourselves. And every time I'm in a new space that I'm maybe not accustomed to, or experiencing something, like even having a friend over briefly for the first time in a way that's been different to what I've experienced before. All these small experiences, actually rather big experiences that people experience early on, when someone moves to a city, you see them having a group of friends, maybe not right away, but somehow in a year or two they're able to experience that, or they're able to go to these dinner parties and have, be invited to birthday parties, to brunch, to nights out. It feels like it should be a common theme with people here in big cities, but it's not always the case. And I find that I'm getting glimpses of that kind of experiences for the first time at 25, and it just feels like I'm teaching myself how I want to live my life, what kind of experiences I want in my life. And it just feels so right to honor certain parts of me that do like to go out and feel belonging. I was just recognizing how much of my emotional needs I was meeting this past Saturday. I felt a sense of belonging to where I live with my home base. And I just want to be able to honor all parts of me on a consistent basis. I'm eating regularly today. I want to keep seeking out a sense of belonging with my friends. I want to just keep entering into spaces where I have the opportunity to mingle, have an opportunity just to be with other people, talk to other people. I find that only when I go out and I'm able to talk to other people, it just makes it worthwhile. I can't aimlessly just spend my day to myself, because I just find that it's worthwhile for me when I'm able to at least talk to one person, two people, like just to see people see faces I've never seen before. It feels like I'm integrating myself into society rather than isolating myself. And every time, most of the time when I'm out, it ends up being worthwhile every time I meet someone or I have an interaction, it makes the experience worthwhile. And I don't have to ever see this person again or exchange contact numbers, but it makes it just worthwhile to integrate myself in society. And integrating myself into society looks like just talking to people. Simply talking to people and having the experience for the first time of being in a group ever in life. I've been in groups before, but I felt like it was always an extension of my sister's friends, or it was never of my own. And this time it felt like I participated on my own, independently to have this experience. And it just felt so empowering. It felt empowering, and it felt like I was showing myself what I deserve, what kind of experiences I deserve to have in this life, that I knew I deserved, or I knew that I wanted, but to manifest it into the 3D, it's like, it's proof, it's evidence. So first it's in the mind as desire, as an imagination, and then, but to manifest it in the 3D, it's evidence of that imagination, evidence of the worthiness, evidence of what you deserve, tangible proof of it. And I just felt like fueled by what I can create. Every day we can act in a state of creation, and I think a lot of us are susceptible to fall into the illusion of what is in front of us right now, what kind of reality we're living in right now. You know, whether or not we have a lot of friends or no friends, or we don't have a job that we want, or the place to stay, where, like, the kind of desired apartment or house that we want, the mode of transportation we want, our surroundings, what kind of surroundings we want to have around us. All of these things, sometimes we are susceptible to fall into the illusion of what's in front of us, instead of remembering what can be. And I think this experience I've had a couple days ago inspired me to share, I guess, bring light into what can be, what kind of experiences we can have. Because I can constantly fall into a depressive mode, because it's almost sometimes my own mechanism is to fall into a default state of depression, where I can't really see it's hard for me to kind of see the sun coming up. You know, sometimes it feels like I'm in a constant umbrella of cloudiness, and I only see what's in front of me instead of what can be. And every time I have these new experiences later in life, I recognize that I'm capable of experiencing something like everybody else. That's why I like to make space for people who are also late bloomers, whether it's in a romantic relationship or friendship or community or career or education or independence in your own space. I want to make space for those people, because I myself have been late, later on. And I just want to remind people that struggle with it, is that maybe our experiences that we want are closer than we think. I remember, like, 2 years ago, maybe in like 2023, I didn't know almost all the people I know now. Not to say I have close bonds with everybody now, but just having their contact information, having been invited to places that they've hosted, events that they've hosted, performances that they've done. It's like, this is what I wanted. I wanted to have a sense of belonging. I wanted to be invited to places. And it's just refreshing to experience that, knowing that you can claim those experiences as your own. I think there's a level of freedom to doing so. There's a level of freedom of maybe getting a certain job, finding a place to stay, even providing food on your table for yourself. There's a level of empowerment to seeing what you can create, seeing the kind of food you're concocting in the kitchen, or the person you're becoming through your learned experiences at your job, the emotional space you provide for your friends. We're always creating. We're always in a state of creation, and this is just so to remind you that what we can create is closer than we realize. And I think to also hold on to that. When we have these opportunities to meet people and to build connections, hold on to it. You know, I know sometimes we're not perfect. I'm not gonna be always 100% available for somebody, but to show gratitude with the opportunity by exchanging numbers. So like when we meet people, when somebody comes up to us, or when we come up to them, especially when somebody comes up to us, that's God, that's the universe, spirit providing us an experience. So take that and be like, you know what? I want to show gratitude to spirit by maintaining this connection, by holding on to this opportunity. The more we fall into the illusion of our current state of reality, the less we see what the possibilities are of what we can experience. Or rather, we just create a larger gap to what we want, to the now state, to our desired reality. We create a larger gap the more we just are susceptible to what is in front of us. So these experiences I've been having this past year is showing me that, like I'm a magician. It's showing me that I can create more rapidly than I thought, in a way. I feel like as a magician, we're constantly creating. We constantly have the power to create. And that's why I post these videos, because I see myself as a magician, as a creator. And it belongs to all of us. We're all magicians. We just we get susceptible to what our current state of reality is, and that includes our thoughts. So we get susceptible to the current thoughts that we're having, and we're not seeing what thoughts and what our thoughts can shift to. So not just the possibilities on the external, in our external reality, but the possibilities in our internal reality. What different thoughts can we have? You know, once we believe in the possibilities of having different kind of thoughts, we can act and move differently and behave differently. Our actions can look differently. If I were to not see myself as a creator, as a valuable source to share information, then I wouldn't be posting these videos. I would think, oh, no, people already kind of know this information. There's not much I'm adding to the conversation of this. Maybe what I'm saying is not as valid, or maybe they can source this information elsewhere. That's all limiting. Instead, see yourself as a valuable source to share information, to share your experience. Because you are a unique expression to this overall human experience. You are adding value in your own way. And if you are uncertain of what value you're outputting, if you're confused and not clear, that's okay. But just start with what you can say and share. No matter how it looks like, no matter how long it is, just start with where you are at, because we're not meant to know the next 500 videos we're gonna make. We're not meant to know the next 100 videos. I don't even know the next video I'm gonna make. This one was very spontaneous. I just put up the camera and I started recording. I didn't have a layout. I don't have a layout sometimes. So, you know, even when you go out, you know, don't wait to have friends. Just go out by yourself. I've done that myself many times, and I still do, because life is always happening around us. So let's just allow ourselves to integrate ourselves into society, whether we think we're ready or not. It's just what's happening right now. What are we doing right now? How are you being the magician right now, embodying the magician right now? see yourself as a self creator of everything, of your life. It's kind of fun because you can see the possibilities. You could actually live the experiences that you've had in your head for so long. I've always dreamt of being invited to shows, being in groups in the city, having this like all these extra more social environments and experiences. And when I experience them, it is always worthwhile, because no matter how the day goes or the night goes, it just shows to me that from up here I can manifest. I can actually manifest on the outside. It's like I'm shooting a film in my head, and then I go to the movie theaters and I'm able to see the output or the making of the film, or like the post-production. I don't know. Like, this is the pre-production, and then when you're taking the steps to life to make that reality happen, to make that desired goal happen, you're in production. And post-production is like the aftermath, seeing, or maybe I guess you're still working through everything, and then you go to the film, you see the film at the theaters, and that's you watching everything unfold. All your choices that you've made previously to get yourself there, that's all from the choices you made. So every space that you enter is because you made a previous choice that you want to be there, that you deserve to be there. And even the connections you make down the line, you recognize, I'm only with this person because I've decided to talk to them, I decided to reach out to them, to text them. It's from all your previous choices. Every scene, every space you enter is a result of all your choices that you made beforehand. So if you find yourself isolating like I do sometimes, just remember that there's only so much you can manifest inside. There's only so much you can see. You know, it's harder to believe that you're the magician if you're not acting at it as it. Act like you're a creator. Act like you're a creator, because you are. And yeah, every time we fall back into being susceptible to our current reality, just know that there's always a different choice. There's always that contrast. There's always another thing you can do to see your manifestations come true. There's always that flip switch. You can always make a different choice. You can always choose differently, to operate differently. Even if you don't have friends and maybe you don't have certain things you want in life, you can always choose to operate differently, so that way, you can always choose to operate differently in that you are the magician itself. Even when you isolate, you're still creating that same maybe perpetual reality, and you're not going to actually see your manifestations come true if you're inside. So of course you're not going to see yourself as a magician, because you're not seeing what can be possible. But you have to act like the magician to know that you're the magician. So I'll leave it as that. I was going to talk about familiarity and how that's a big fear of mine, but I mean, I can say one thing, or maybe a couple things. The self-limiting beliefs too that can prohibit us from being a magician. And I think for me, it definitely has. It definitely has. But I think that's gonna be, maybe that's a bit different than what I was, I guess, talking about now. But I mean, that might be my next topic of discussion. So thank you, and I hope we're able to see that we are the creators ourselves. So yeah, I love that spring, that The trees are coming back. I can show you some trees real quick to end this on an yeah, it's so nice. I love it. I love the greenery coming back. Guess I can't really flip the camera, but look how beautiful this is.